Hello, good morning, hello Earth. Welcome to part 3 of a trilogy that some people, mainly me, have likened to The Godfather, or Lord of the Rings, or Van Wilder, without much pushback, so I guess I must be correct. Thank you for coming back to part 3. Hugely appreciate that. We've got some great numbers here today. Still in the billions, which is just incredibly gratifying, so thank you. Today we are talking about using NoiseTools for the purposes of environmental monitoring, so environmental reporting, looking at your data. We're covering various topics: playing back audio, sharing data, generating reports, marking up measurements, additional configuration you may wish to consider for the meter that would go a bit beyond noise at work. All of today's presentation is based around our Optimus environmental meter. When you purchased yours, it may have come under the term an Optimus Green, but they're now Optimus Environmental, which looks like one of these things. So this is the handheld version, but if you're using one of our outdoor kits, this would be the meter inside. And oh gosh, Aaron, thank you. The original Star Wars trilogy. Do you know what? It's up there. It is up there. Maybe not the prequels. So your green is in your outdoor kit. It's also what will be inside your Trojan, and if you have a Trojan 2, you can remove the meter from the kit case and carry out handheld measurements. So for those of you that might be quite new to NoiseTools, we're going to start with the absolute basics, such as where do you find NoiseTools? I hear it's free. You're correct. It's free of charge. It's license free. It's update free. It's written in-house. And just as a matter of fact, we design and manufacture this equipment here in Yorkshire, so you know it's good. And the software that we're going to look at today is written in the room next door to me. So I mention these things. If ever you need any technical support, or your IT colleagues have any queries or questions, you literally write to the people that create the code that makes all the magic happen. So without any further ado, and it's quite early in the morning and I'm looking a bit rough, and maybe not had your breakfast, so I'm going to jump to another screen that looks a bit nicer. So bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to jump to my second display. I'm just going to show you our website. It's a new website. We'll show you where you can find NoiseTools and therefore download. And then we'll jump straight to NoiseTools. I can see the audience chat, so I'll try and answer questions as the host mentioned. I'll try and answer questions as I go. If I don't get the chance, I'll try and answer as many as I can towards the end of the session. But please do, any questions you like, it'll be a pleasure to address them. So as I try to casually glance down, then given up, I can't do it in a cool manner. So I'm just going to jump onto my little bit of software, go to my second display, and I'm hoping that you can see our website and no longer see me. So here we are on the website now, cirrusresearch.com, and all you need to do to find the NoiseTools download section, simply go up to here where it says About, bring your cursor down to here, and you'll see right at the top of resources is software and apps, and right at the top, NoiseTools analysis software. And just to put a smile on the accountant's face and your IT manager's face, license free right at the top. We do get asked that quite often. Well, what does it cost next year? Nothing. It's free next year as well. What about if you want to add somebody to it? It's free of charge. It's always free of charge. So, just by the way, just whilst I'm showing you this, you can download NoiseTools using the download NoiseTools icon there. And as long as your laptop's, from this millennium, it should download in a couple of minutes. You'll be up and running. And not that we're looking at them today. Oh, by the way, there are some more video tutorials, but please stick with me. We do have some additional modules that are available for a one-off fee if you wish to use them, but everything I'm showing you today is probably all singing, all dancing version that's free of charge. But should you wish, you could have the reverberation time calculation module. You could have Octave band LN calculation module, and the ISO 9612 NoiseTools module, which is probably a little bit more interesting if you were doing noise at work monitoring. And then further down here is an introduction to our Cirrus Cloud, my Cirrus, cloud platform, where you can create an account. You can also do that through NoiseTools. I'll show you that. That will allow you to, if you do decide to purchase one of these licenses, they're about £230 one-off fee. you would need to open a My Cirrus Cloud account so that we can activate it within your copy of NoiseTools, and here it explains a little bit further what else you can do with it. Receive live notifications, 24/7 monitoring with our Quantum Outdoor product. And then just to draw your attention to it, and as it's all in one rather nice, convenient page, if you wish, you can download apps. And in case I've not said free enough already this morning, and these apps are free of charge. And what do they do? Well, the My Cirrus app allows you to view data live and historic data. If you have, say, a Quantum Outdoor or an outdoor sim-enabled kit, you can also check the health of your Quantum Outdoor and things like that nature, and receive notifications too. The DB Link app, if you have our dose badges, this allows you to start and stop the badges with your phone as long as you are in Bluetooth range. And then we have DB Active, which is probably of more interest to people on this webinar today. That turns your phone into a remote control for the meter, so you can position the meter somewhere nice to get some good data, but it's a bit awkward for you to be stood there holding it or something along those lines. You maybe popped it on a tripod. So as long as you're within Bluetooth range, you can connect to the meter with your phone. You can see live data on your phone. You can start and stop measurements with your phone. Also, incidentally, that I'd recommend it. But your Octave screen records audio, as you probably know. So if you accidentally left it in the meeting room, and then press record, you can record other people in that room. But I would never endorse that, of course. And this is available as long as your phone's Apple or Android. If it's BlackBerry, you might need to sort your life out. So there you are. Everything you need regarding to our software available, cirrusresearch.com, about, and then software and apps. So now we've had a look at our website, which you could all done in your private time. So let's just jump to NoiseTools. So this is NoiseTools. This is the software that's used for all of our products. You can download from the Quantum Outdoor, which is a permanently positioned product. You can pull data into NoiseTools should you wish, and then you can generate further detailed reports through NoiseTools as though you downloaded it from a handheld, from an outdoor kit, a dose badge, or a Trojan. So NoiseTools here, this looks a little bit bland at the moment, but because I don't have an instrument connected. But what can we see on the bland part of NoiseTools before we connect an instrument? Well, we can see down the left here, this is our filing cabinet. So when we download measurements, you can mark them up in different ways, which I'm about to show you. And then you can search for your measurements in whichever drawer you prefer to search for them in. Quite a lot of people just use measurements and then the year and then the month, however, whatever measurements you have for that particular month there. And we also have here at the top, which I find quite useful, especially if I'm putting together like an overview of surveys carried out at the same client's facility over a few years. I maybe want to audit their reports. So this is another way, using this little black arrow, for you to search for data that you've downloaded. If you just click that little arrow, you can tell it a word that the report would contain, a time frame that you're interested in, and also any lesser or higher than decibel level. And if you click here, and it automatically goes to 85 decibels, but this can absolutely be changed to be whatever you want, and it doesn't have to be on the LAEQ. It can be on any of the parameters that the instruments you've downloaded are capable of displaying. So this one here on the LAEQ, greater than 85 decibels. Have I recorded a voice tag, which is 30 seconds of audio when you press start on your handheld, so you can say who you are and what you're doing. Does it have an audio file? And once you've popped in some parameters that you're interested in, you can click search and it'll go through the database. And so we've only got one here, which is quite interesting. One measurement that's gone over 85 decibels. So depending on what you're doing, you can audit all of your data, all of your measurements by the click of a couple of buttons, tell it decibel level and time frame that you're interested in, and it will report back all measurements within your database that fit the parameters that you've dictated. So that can be quite helpful, especially if you've got a lot of data that you've been working on. Maybe you have a construction project that you've been monitoring, and that construction project, has taken 6 months, 18 months, 2 years even, if it's a rail project. So this can be quite a good way to present information to colleagues, management, and your clients. And that's just using the advanced search tab, which you can all access any copy of NoiseTools by clicking that little black arrow. And also, should you wish, you can just type anything you like in here. Probably better to type real words and not the nonsense I just typed. Click the magnifying glass, and any measurement within your database that has this word in it here would appear in chronological order listed down here in the left. So there's your filing cabinet. Also, over here we have little links to the most common tasks that people seem to carry out through our software. So if I want to upgrade to the new audio storage system, which is about compressing the audio and storing it in different parts on your computer, you can do that. If you wish to download measurements, configure instruments, calibrate speakers, any of those things, you're able to do that. And then underneath here we have our news, what do we call it, the noise news. So anything about our new products, our opening hours. So in case you were wondering, at Christmas, did anybody at Cirrus get any time off in 2023 at Christmas? You can click on there and find out. This is updated frequently, but all of this part here requires your computer to be connected to the internet, you probably guessed. Also at the top, I have these 3 blue bars, and these are measurements that I've left open since the last session of using NoiseTools. You can have as many of these open as you like. I mean, I've had up to 30 odd or 50 odd open, but as with any software package, the more things you have running in the background, the potentially the slower the software package might work. So these are just measurements that I've left open for use later on during the webinar. What I'd like to do now is take my handheld sound level meter and connect it to NoiseTools, so I can show you what NoiseTools homepage looks like when you have connected an instrument. And this is what it will look like whether you've connected a handheld, dose badges, Trojans, outdoor kits, anything like that. I'm always pleased when I'm doing a live webinar to hear the magic dobbity boom thing, so I know that it's connected. Just take a second or two. So there we go. Now I've connected an instrument. It looks NoiseTools looks a little bit more interesting. So first thing we're going to do is we're just going to have a look at these tabs that are here. We have configure, download, monitor, and measurements. So what can we see here? Well, if I were to click measurements, all it does is show me measurements that I've downloaded from this instrument, and it will just highlight them in the filing cabinet here down the left. That's okay. It's a quick way to find data from that instrument. I don't use it very often, but the feature's there if you require it. We also have monitor. So this is live data of me right now in our studio, just chatting away to you all. It's showing me the LAEQ and the LCEQ because that's what I told it to show me. But I can tell it to show me different data sets by just clicking change live data. And you may also find this quite interesting. I've used this occasionally. So I've used this in environments, mainly again for noise at work, not so much environmental. But I've used this to help convey points to people when an organisation has made an area mandatory here in defence. And if you've ever been involved in that line of work, even though you're trying to help people, it can still be a bit stroppy about wearing things, wearing hearing defenders. So this is a way to just show the noise level live. You put it on a large screen, and it'd be quite interesting if noise is the particular topic for that health and safety campaign that particular month. It's a nice little tool to have, though you can also use it to demonstrate noise around a construction site or for environmental purposes, to demonstrate to the people creating the noise this is what's actually happening. And instead of having everybody crowded around looking at a screen on your meter, you can just pop it on a laptop, connect your instrument via the cable, and away you go. You can also use this were you to have one of our outdoor kits with a SIM capability, so you can remote access it and you can see data live. That would be probably the more useful environmental purpose for this particular feature. So I do use it occasionally, but really it's just a nice little extra thing to have to demonstrate information to people live. What else do we have? Well, we have the 2 more important buttons now. So we have configure and we have download. Now, configure, we know where you are in the world. We know that you're using our environmental meters for environmental purposes. So we send your instruments good to go. Literally put the batteries in, turn it on, press calibrate, press start, and live the dream. But you can alter things within the instrument. Now, you're not going to need to do this often, I would suggest. However, you are going to be downloading frequently. So we'll look at configure first before we get to the slightly more interesting download. So if I click on configure, this little configure box will appear. And just to try and make it easier for you guys at home, around the world, let's just make it a bit of a bigger screen. So firstly, if you wish, if you're so inclined, you can give your instrument a name. So I'm going to call mine Demo because I'm incredibly creative and original. And any changes that I do make within configuration, all you ever need to do is just click Save to Instrument. That's all you have to do. You can, if you wish, depending where you are in the world, change languages. So if you have colleagues in different countries and you share equipment, you're shipping it over to them. If it's a French, Dutch, Spanish or Italian speaker, then you can, German, Spanish or Italian speaker, you can change the instrument to be in their language just for convenience. You can change date and time format. We sell a lot of equipment in America. As you probably know, they do the dates the wrong way around. So if you wish, you can copy them. We have an option here. If you're leaving the instrument on a tripod, you can tell it to dim or never dim. Now this instrument has been set to never dim, so the screen's always very bright, but this is because it's used at trade shows and bright screens look nice. But you can tell it to dim after any time frame you want, and again, well, as long as it's 1 minute, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, then click Save to Instrument. Screensaver, if you'd like for that to appear. Again, this is just an option to help extend the battery life slightly. So if the screen dims or the screen saver's on, this will slightly improve battery life. So if you wish to do that, you can do so. You can also automatically, if you just tick the box that says auto, the little cutout above the screen on your handheld will respond to light. So if you walk somewhere dark, it will brighten the screen and illuminate the keypad. If you walk somewhere if you walk somewhere dark, it will lighten the screen and the pad, and if you walk somewhere bright, it will darken it all, just to try and make it a little bit easier on the eyes while you're using it. If you do wish to have a voice tag used, then ensure that the voice tag is ticked. It likely will be ticked when it's shipped. So just to reiterate, when you press start on the instrument, you can record 30 seconds of audio to say who you are and what you're doing, in case you're in an environment where you can't take a pen or you just don't have one with you. And then you can play that voice tag back through NoiseTools, and you can mark up your measurement like that. And if you are somewhere noisy when you're recording the voice tag, you can shout into the microphone if you wish. It has zero impact on your measurement. It's not a part of your measurement. It's just attached to it. If you wish, you can have the instrument show you the dB values to 2 decimal places. I don't do that, but if you wish to, you can by just ticking that box. And then also, we have this function here where you can enable pause. So you may be similar to myself, you're taking measurements and a sound level meter looks like a sound level meter, and some hilarious Muppet walks past you and shouts into the instrument, which is hilarious, obviously, but might mess with your data. So you can pause, and it will also have a back erase. Out of the box, it's set at 10 seconds, but you can alter the back erase to be what you wish, up to 2 minutes. The pause, when you enable pause, it will turn the start button on your instrument into a pause stop. It'll turn the stop button into a pause stop button, pardon me. So you press it once, it's paused, press it twice, it's stopped. And it can be a useful thing to have, but that won't be ticked automatically when you receive your instrument. Finally, on this page, we have level colors. So level colors on the side of your Optimus Green or your Optimus Environmental, there's a little bar which is showing you the LAF, level A-weighted fast, or in other words, sound as it's happening right now, whereas the LAEQ is an average value, which you will likely know. So this is quite useful if you've got a new colleague and they're a little bit unsure about things. It will turn, the bar will be green under 80 decibels, and between 80 and 84 it will be yellow, and between 85 and above it will be red. So if they are brand new, or if you've got an intern and you need them to do some busy work while you do actual work, and you've already had them make you 3 cups of tea that day, this can be quite nice, because all they really need to know is that green is good and red's problematic. But you can alter those to be whatever you like. Out of the box, they absolutely will be set at 80, 85 for noise at work regulations, but you can change them as frequently or infrequently as you wish. And again, just click Save to Instrument. That's all we need you to do. Over here on integrating, so we sell equipment all over the world. So I'm not sure where you all are, but no matter where you are, your instrument will be set for that part of the world, but you can change it. So if you are sharing equipment with maybe colleagues in the United States, you could click OSHA, click Save to Instrument, and it will reconfigure to ocean standards and be therefore able to be used in the States. EU and UK are identical. So if you're sending your kit to a colleague in Spain, you don't really need to change that, but the options, we like to put it on the screen. And you can also customize the settings as well yourself, like criterion levels, things like that. We have storage coming up next. So storage is basically just two things. The time history rate, how often it's calculating your decibel levels. So out of the box, yours absolutely will be set at 1 second, which I would imagine will be 90% or more of your measurements. It certainly would be for me. But you can drop it as low as 1/100th of a second. That though is 100 times the data, bear in mind. So that's quite a lot of information. Where would you use that? Maybe firing ranges, firework testing. So the HSE use these meters to check, spot check firework packets to make sure they're not going over the allowed decibel levels. And because fireworks and gunshots are very loud, but they're very brief, you may wish to drop it down to 1/100th of a second then. But for the vast majority of your measurements, I would imagine 1 second is going to be what you use. Certainly is what I use. Your instrument also has capability to take a measurement over a period of time without you having to be there to stop it, or multiple measurements over a period of time without you having to be there to start and stop, start and stop. So if you tick the single box, this will then illuminate this option here, and you can pick any of the most commonly used time frames from a minute to an hour. There's also day, evening, and night settings. You can tell it to start and stop at certain times. And then it's customized. So you can pick hours, minutes, or seconds, and how long you want that measurement to run for. So once you've selected something like this and you've pressed start on the instrument, you can leave the instrument and it'll take a measurement for the period of time that you've told it to do, and then it will stop on the single measurement, on the single timer. And just so that you feel comfortable leaving the instrument, if you do select the single timer, you'll see a little stopwatch icon appear at the top of the instrument near the clock, just so that as you walk away, you know it's going to do what you've asked it to do. If you were to select the repeat timer, and then you'll see a little egg timer icon at the top of the screen next to the clock. And again, that's just so when you walk away, you can feel comfortable it's going to do what you've asked it to do. And the repeat timer, as the name suggests, but just to be crystal clear, if I've set this on a 10 minutes, I've left this on 10 minutes. Again, it can be anything I want. The repeat timer, though, is in minutes and hours. It's the single timer that's in seconds, minutes, and hours. So I can say 10 minutes and I'll leave it running. I've got a fresh set of batteries in, 4 AA's. That should give me 12 hours of monitoring. And it will keep taking a measurement until either you go and press stop, the batteries run out, or the memory fills. And just a quick point on the memory, all Optimuses that ship moving forward, I've had an increase in the memory capability. So you used to get 4 gig built in as standard, which is a huge amount really for what you're doing. But now, just to try and make your life a little bit easier, we've increased that to 8 gig. There's no impact on the price. It'll just be shipped. So the next time you buy an Optimus, you'll have double the memory, and you'll find that useful. It's a huge amount though. Even 4 gig was a lot, so 8 gig you should be fine, especially if you're sticking one of these Optimus Greens in an outdoor kit and maybe leaving it on a construction site or in a field for a couple of weekends running. It can be useful to have that increased memory. The next tab I'd like to show you is audio. So depending on when you purchased your Optimus, and assuming that you calibrate with Cirrus every year, which of course you do, why wouldn't you? If you do calibrate with us every year, any firmware upgrades or any improvements that we've made will just be automatically added to your instrument. So you may only have standard and studio on your instrument. If you have the latest firmware or a new meter, you'll have standard high and studio. These are just referencing the bit rate, the quality of the audio, but all 3 versions will give you uncompressed WAV files. So in other words, audio files that you can use in court. Maximum audio duration, just to explain this away, people do occasionally click on things within software that they maybe didn't need to. So this is simply if you are having it record audio using audio triggers, you can control how long it records the audio for. And also, if you're using it as a handheld, then you can, if you wish, tell it to stop recording audio after 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes. Now, I never ever use this when I'm doing handheld measurements, because if I'm holding the instrument and I press the audio button to record audio, I know when I want to stop it recording audio. So I don't use this for handheld monitoring. But you might find it useful if you're leaving the instrument unattended on a tripod or in our outdoor kit. Speaking of audio triggers, what are they and how do we use them? Well, if you tick the box that says enabled and then save to instruments, we always want you to click save to instruments after you've made any changes in configuration. If you tick enabled and save to instruments, you will see a little grey ear appear again at the top of the screen on your instrument near the clock, and that's letting you know that a audio trigger has been set. When the audio trigger has been met and it starts to record audio, that ear turns green. Now, that's an interesting bit of engineering from my colleagues. If you've left it unattended and it changes from grey to green, you know, is anybody going to see it? You know, if you're in a forest and the grey ear turns green, will anybody see? So how do we actually use our audio triggers? Well, and you can use up to 8 of these at one go, by the way. You can go to edit the template by clicking that little settings cog, and you can tell it to do a few things. So you can tell it to sustain a duration, so how long it's going to record the audio for. Is it going to be on max events? Anything like that. But an easier and simpler way to look at things is to just look at the level rule over here. So, and I've already ticked, by the way, record audio, so please ensure that you tick record audio. This will come into play if you're using the instrument in an outdoor kit. You need to tell it to record audio when the triggers are met. You can also tell it to send you notifications, such as through the cloud, with the app that I mentioned earlier. You can also, if you wish, depending on how you've configured your instruments and your My Cirrus account, you can also have alerts sent to your mobile phone via text and things like that nature. So a level has been breached. Here's notification of that. But what can we do with it? Well, we can tell our instrument that I care about any free instance that goes above 80 decibels or below. Some of our clients in the gasworks industry would use that. So pipelines are expected to make a noise at a certain decibel level. If it drops under that, that would mean there's a pressure loss somewhere. That's problematic, but most people use it for above. So it's gone above 80 decibels and it lasted for 5 seconds. If that happens, I want you to record audio. And then as soon as that's no longer the case, then you can stop recording. I would suggest that the minimum duration, I wouldn't set it at 1 second. I would set it at least 2 seconds. Because if you set it at 1 second and you've left an outdoor kit out and about in a field, you might get an audio recording any time a bird sort of sits anywhere near it or chirps. So set it for 2 seconds would be my advice on that. And you can have as many as you like here. You just tick them, add a new rule, add a new tone level that you're interested in, and the instrument can respond. Now, I mentioned that you can have up to 8 of these. If you're going to do that, I would urge you to do it on Octave data, because that's a little bit more intricate. If you had one set on an LAEQ of 75 and then one set on an LAEQ of 80, you're going to be telling it basically to record audio levels twice. So if you ask it to record audio 80 dB, LAEQ, and 75, well, if it's recording it at 80, then it's going to have to record it at the 75 because it's already gone past that. So if you're going to use multiple ones, I would suggest that you base those on specific frequencies, whether that's first or third octaves can be done here. You can also do it on the SPL and the LAE, but the most commonly used ones would be the LAEQ and third octaves. And when you're happy, just click OK. So just cancel that box. Also, for those of you inclined to do such things, we have an option here where you can create your own LN value or percentile. Now, we know what the most commonly used ones are, and your instrument will give you information on the LN, or if you give it a proper name, LAF 5% of the measurement, all the way up to LAF or LN95. We did have a client recently that wanted to witness nuisance noise on a nighttime inside properties, and they wanted to put this on 99.8, which is the highest LN value I've ever known anybody to use, but it does form a part of the 1996 Noise Act, Nighttime Noise Act, I think it's called, and it was definitely from 1996. So again, you just click Save to Instrument, and the interesting thing is, once you've done this once, that custom LN value will always appear in every measurement you ever take moving forward. If you want to get rid of it, you'll just have to click the X, click Save to Instrument, and it will no longer give you that information. But every measurement you take afterwards, it now includes this as a part of the data set. You can change it from SPL to LEQ. You can change it the time rate from 16th of a second to a second. It's frozen on the fast. You can also change the frequency to A, C, and Z. So it's all quite interesting. If I just pop that back to the SPL, then that would then give me access to fast, slow, and impulse, as that would need to be on the SPL, as you likely know. So click Save to Instrument, and there you are. You have that LN value permanently being monitored. We also have an Advanced tab. So this is the top part here. This is fine if you're using an outdoor kit. We allow you to change thresholds and everything else, but these are set to an ISO standard. You can alter them if you need to for a particular purpose. You can, if you wish, change the calibration level here, but remember that the acoustic calibrator we provided with your instrument calibrates at 93.7, so I would suggest you leave that. We also have wind farm options. So as you may know, if you're monitoring a wind farm, say you have it on a repeat timer, so you're getting a 1 hour LAEQ or 15-minute LAEQ, whatever you're doing, you can tell it, as you should for wind farm monitoring, to record audio at the start of each measurement. So even though we've called it wind farm options, and that is what it's for, there are plenty of other uses. You may want audio recorded at the start of all of your repeat timer measurements, even if it's not related to a wind farm. So to do that, you just simply tick the box, and you can dictate how long it records audio to, up to 2 minutes at the start of each measurement. So I use this from time to time when I'm doing environmental monitoring. I put it on a repeat timer, which makes it easier to download lots of data as well. That's the other benefit to a repeat timer. Instead of just having one long measurement, you can have it broken down in advance. It makes it easier for your laptop to download. And if you're working remotely and connecting to a server at the office, you definitely will find that helpful. But this allows me to listen to a little bit of audio at the start of every measurement. And I find that useful in some circumstances. I'm going to switch it off here, but if you wish to use it, tick the box, tick the time frame, click Save to Instrument, and put it on a repeat timer or a single timer. And as soon as you start a measurement, you'll get however much audio you've told it to record at the start of each of those measurements. And also, if you do get an outdoor kit, you can simply click this option here to configure your outdoor kit. It'll ask you what type of kit you're getting. So if it's a brand new one, you'll have a 675 for the standard, or a 685 for the modem enabled version, and then you can click on there, follow a little on-step instruction. Here at the bottom is the more interesting part to my mind, which is the partition editor. Now out of the box, yours is likely to be set at about 50/50. So this is based on standard audio, as you can see at the bottom, 1 second time history rate, and I switched off all of the timers. So this is, if I have it on 50/50, that's giving me 17 hours and 15 minutes of audio that I can record, and 77 days and 12 hours of measurement length. And if you take it to the extreme, this is just to give you an idea of how much memory you've got. And by the by, I'm connected an instrument with the original 4 gig memory. So all the numbers you see here, when you buy a new one, you can double them. So if I take it down to a minimum partition editor for audio, the minimum is 5%. It will let you set it for. And on the parameters that I have now, 1 second, no timers. If you alter the time history rate and include timers, you'll see these numbers here change. But in the minimum amount of audio I can have it record setting-wise is 1 hour and 30 minutes. But look how long the time history is: 147 days and 19 hours. That's a huge amount of memory for measurements. So you don't need to clear the instrument all the time. This is just to show you that it's good to be in the habit of clearing the instrument once you've downloaded, but due to the size of the memory, you probably don't have to. And if I just take the counter all the way to the other end, so the minimum is 5% again, that's giving me 7 days and 10 hours worth of measurement time. But also look at the audio now, 32 hours and 45 minutes. That's a huge amount for you. So you can alter this partition editor as frequently or as infrequently as you like. Out of the box, yours is likely set at 50/50. All we need you to do is click confirm. Now there is a warning here, which my esteemed colleagues in software development put in the same color as all the other text on the screen. Now I'm not sure how warnings work. Meant to stand out, but anywho, if you click confirm, this little box will appear. And this box is telling you that if you've altered the partition editor in any way whatsoever, when you click save to instrument, you click OK and then you click confirm, the instrument has to have all the memory wiped. So not your time and dates, not any settings that you've maybe installed, but all of the measurements will be wiped. And it has to do that because you've told the memory to work differently. But you do get a warning every time. So if you do alter the partition editor, you can't accidentally clear all of the measurements without the warning appearing on the screen first. I'll just close that box there. And then here we have our communications tab. So if you do buy an outdoor kit with SIM enabled a product, you can put any SIM into an outdoor kit. You can go buy one from Tesco's, activate it and put it in the kit case and it will work. But this would be where you type the APN user and the APN password, which you should find on the back of any SIM card that you've purchased. And just to give you a bit of confidence, or you sat there thinking, oh gosh, I've got colleagues, I hope they're not watching this webinar, they're going to change things. If they do, you can just click backup restore, pick factory, and it'll all be exactly as it was the day we sent it to you in the post. So feel free to click away on all of these tabs, but if you are worried you've gone a bit click happy, or you've been on holiday and your colleagues have gone click happy, click backup restore and you're fine and dandy. It'll be the same as it was when you first opened it up Christmas morning. So there's a little configuration. Now, the thing you are going to be doing the most, I hope, is downloading your data. So how do we do that? Well, we do like to keep things straightforward here at Cirrus. You'll notice with the instrument, when you want to press start, there's a button. It says start. Please press that. When you want to stop, there's a button. It says stop. If you wouldn't mind pressing that, that would be delightful. And also when you want to calibrate, there's a button that says calibrate. So we like to keep it straightforward. And we do the same with NoiseTools, or at least we hope we do. Please, any improvements you'd like to see, let me know. If they're really great ideas, I'll steal credit for them. And if I'm not too sure about them, I'll mention your name. But if I'm ready to download something, press download. I'll just make the box a bit bigger again on the screen for you. So this only looks like this because I've just expanded it. I never do this outside of webinars or training sessions, and I can't imagine you'll do it either. So you can see we've been taking some measurements here over the past week or so. And what can we do? Well, firstly, please ensure that the download time history is ticked. Only this week I did some tech support with the client. They couldn't see the time history. And that was because they'd unticked the box that says download time history. So we had to get them to delete the measurement that they'd downloaded in part, and then just tick that box, press download, and problem solved. So good idea to leave that ticked. Download your Octave history, download your audio. So there's no real reason to leave those things unticked. And then over here, I choose to tick this. Yours won't be ticked automatically, but it's definitely a good thing to do. If you tick open after download, as the name suggests, it will open after, the measurement will open up within the screen as soon as it's downloaded. Now you can mark up your measurements. So before you do anything else. So when you download, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick a measurement to download, a slightly longer one, I think. Oh, there we go, 1 hour. Right, so to download an individual measurement, just click the one that you want to download. However, if you've put a repeat timer on and you'd rather they all downloaded one after another, just click with your mouse, highlight all the measurements you wish to download, and then they will be downloaded. And if you tick the box that says open after download, they will appear as those little blue tabs at the top of NoiseTools that we saw a moment ago, and they'll just appear in sequential order. So I shall just remain on one to download for the moment. Now here we have options where you can put some information against your measurement. So if I click this little house logo here, this box appears, and this part here, these are just my suggestions. This is your data, and you can mark it up however you wish. So I would suggest maybe putting the company name there. Click OK. And then here, this is the person. And again, this is just my suggestion, but I would put the name of the person that took the measurement, because I find that useful. If a lot of people are downloading to the same copy of NoiseTools, it just helps you pick out measurements from certain colleagues, should you wish. And also, I can't see you on camera, but if you're serious customers, you're probably a good-looking bunch, you can add your picture here. So you can pop a little picture of yourself, if you wish, and it'll appear as a little thumbnail on your reports. Now, I don't do that, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know anybody that does, but if you do that, please let me know. I won't judge you, but I will mention it to colleagues and other clients. So if you wish, feel free. And then here we have project. So if I click on this little project box, this could be where you write the area, the project, or the person that you were monitoring. And again, if you wish, you can add another picture. I shall just click OK. So all I've done so far is pop the company name here, your name, the person that took the measurement, and the area, project, or person that I'm working with or monitoring. Again, just my suggestions. Anything you want, please pop it there. And you'll also notice that you'll have these little pop-down black arrows. So if I click on there, any term you've ever typed will be remembered. So you don't have to keep typing your own name or your own company name. You can just select it, and you can see how often I tell people to type the word company, the term company name when they download. Ensure that measurement that you wish to download is still highlighted in blue. And I'm just going to minimize this bit now so it looks a little bit more like what you'll actually see when you're using NoiseTools. So just to reiterate, company name, your name, area, project, person, and when you're ready, just press the button that says download. Because I've ticked the open after download, the measurement should appear on my screen. Now this part depends on how fast your laptop is. So this is taking a couple of seconds longer than I'd expect. Okay, we can live with that. That's fine. So once we've downloaded a measurement, we can just X that box, and here we have our measurement. Now, because our instruments monitor every parameter that they're capable of monitoring as soon as you press start, so no programming required. You don't need to tell it to give you the LNs or the max, or the LAE or the LCEQ or anything like that. It's all monitored for you. So because of this, and because of what I was looking at earlier on NoiseTools, it has turned this measurement into a noise at work measurement. So LAEQ, LC C-A, LEPD, personal daily exposure level, LAF max, and then projected exposures. However, if I hang over my cursor over the summary box, I can turn it into an environmental measurement by just clicking that. And because all of those parameters are monitored when I press start, it can be whatever you need it to be because all parameters have been logged. So this is NoiseTools with our measurement downloaded. What can we see on our summary screen? Well, we have the start and end time, the duration of the measurement, the instrument information. So what you can see there, starting with the G is the serial, starting with the C is the product code. So you call them Optimus Greens or Optimus Environmentals as they're now known. But here in the office, it's the CR171C. We have the basic values. So we have our LAEQ, our LAE, our LAF max. And then we have the statistical values from over the duration of the measurement. And had I have added the 99.8, the 99.8 would have appeared there and would appear in every measurement moving forward. Again, based on people's love of selfies and social media and things of that nature, you can add a picture here, which will appear on your reports and also appear here as a little icon. So you might want to put your company logo, or if you have the instrument positioned on a tripod, you may wish to include that picture as further evidence of how you produced your data. We can also produce a quick summary report. So this is again one of the little features we've included just to try and minimize the time you have to spend analyzing your data. I'm sure you're as obsessed with acoustics as we are here at Cirrus Research, but we're aware that you have other things to do. So how can we make things a bit quicker for you? Well, one press button is always a start, right? So press that quick report button and it'll take you straight to basically run you through the reports tab. So you can see it's highlighted the reports tab here. And I now can zoom in and I have my basic measurement summary report. So all it is the information that you saw on the other screen, but just pulled into an A4 document for you. You can send it to print, of course, but most people save our reports. And generally speaking, even though we've given you all these options, which I occasionally use PowerPoint presentation, I rarely use the Excel or the TIFF or the Word even for that matter, but 9 times out of 10 I'm going to be using the PDF option. And one thing that might be interesting to you, if you are presenting data to a client and you've got several measurements that you'd like to include in one report, maybe you don't want to be the person that sends 5 or 6 PDF attachments in one email. That's not cool. We can do better than that. So if you click on this little icon here, I've now added that summary into a combined report. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to click one of the other measurements that I've left open. So if I click on there, and I'm just going to use this little actions tab here. And just by the way, the reason that this jumped to the time history tab and not the summary is because that's what I was looking at the last time I looked at this particular measurement. So it's always going to show you where you last were, which can be helpful if you're looking at a lot of data, I can promise you that. Press the quick report button again. So we now have a time history report. And if I click this little icon, I've now got that summary and that time history, and the software is pulling it all together into one document. Just to be clear, and it's probably obvious, but I do get asked questions like this from time to time, it's not combining the values of your measurements. It's just presenting data in one document. So you can add as many as you like. You can move things around if you're not happy with the order that you've done them. You can then say, I'd like to configure a cover page, please. And then this always jumps onto my second screen. So here you can pick different layouts that you'd like to use, add yet more photos and logos, people. We should start selling cameras with our sound meters. And then you can title up the document as you wish. So I'll just leave it as I did previously. So that's NAW for Noise at Work, Dave Corner, our IT guru, and then blah, 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 nonsense that I've typed, additional nonsense that I've typed, opportunity to type more nonsense or real words, whichever you wish. Add those pictures, click OK, and when you're happy with that, you can tell it to create you a report, and all it does is, on my second screen, it looks like this. So I've not added any illustrations here, and I've not used real words, apart from Dave Corner and new machines in production area. You use real words. All it's done is just put all of that information into one document for you. So that's all that's done. But it looks quite nice when you add your company logos to it, maybe some pictures of the instruments that you've used or where they were positioned. That can be quite nice. It just adds a bit of context to people, especially if you're sharing information with a layperson. So I'm back to the measurement that we've just downloaded, and we were on our summary screen before I produced the quick report. Also, as you'll notice, there's the LAQ and the LAF max because this is an environmental measurement. These little blue squigglies here at the bottom, these are graphical representations of audio files. And then over here, we have our Octave data as well, summarized over the course of the measurement. So that's the first tab you're going to see. That's your summary tab. Then we'll take a look at the time history tab. So you probably noticed I made it click away to show you how you bring it back. If you click the word legend here at the side of the screen, all of these parameters that have been monitored by your instrument as soon as you press start are available to look at. So you can simply tick, so I've got the LAEQ ticked, everybody seems like the LAEQ. Let's tick the LZEQ for no reason that I can think of. So there we go, it's now appeared there, and I can click away, and I've now got the LAEQ and the LZEQ data appearing here. The good thing is, though, nothing's permanent in NoiseTools. So if you come back to this measurement in 6 months' time and go, what on earth was I looking at the LZEQ for? I care about the LZ peak for some reason. You can just tick that and it will appear. You can tick as many as you like, and it starts to look like a Technicolor Dreamcoat, which looks kind of cool, but it starts to get a bit messy after a while. So I'll just undo some of those. Now, what you see here, this is the time history option that I've ticked, which is what these boxes are here. Whereas if I just want to see the average value over the measurement, I can simply tick this box here, and I'll see this line appear across here, and I can do that with as many as I wish. You'll notice that the statistical values only have that option, and that's because your statistical values are percentages over the course of the measurement, not per second information. I shall just untick some of these because it does look a bit messy, and it will annoy me if I don't. So I'll untick those. Click away and the legend disappears. Click the word legend and it comes back. Now, if you only remember one thing about NoiseTools, I should maybe say this for the end. I'll watch as you all click off now. But we like to, as I said earlier, make it easy for you to use. So if you put your cursor over any graph or any table of information within NoiseTools, if you could please just remember to right-click with your mouse, an awful lot of what you might wish to do will appear in that little grey box. So you can zoom into the measurement. However, if you have a roller ball, so I have a roller ball on my mouse, so I'm just using that to scroll in and out. You can, and then if if you have zoomed in quite a lot, and for some reason you can't be bothered to scroll back out, you can click zoom all and it will just take you back to the measurement. You can mark up areas. I'll show you that in a second. You can look at your markers list once you've marked up areas. You can add annotations or notes to it. You can look at view settings. Now, I do recommend our nuisance noise clients use this with their Trojans, and you may wish to use it as well if you've got an outdoor kit and you've used the audio trigger, so you weren't there to witness the audio. But if you click view settings, you can tick the box that says show audio markers, click OK, and it now highlights all of these little audios for you here on the graph. Once you've ticked that once, by the way, it will remain ticked. So every measurement you ever look at, it will highlight the audio markers for you. If you find that you no longer want that, just go back to view settings, tell it to no longer show audio markers, click OK, and they disappear. So what can we do on the time history page? Well, there's a couple of things we can do. We can mark up measurements and we can play audio. So let's have a look at playing audio. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 audio recordings here. Now, depending on your line of work, you wish you had 4 audio recordings to listen to. So I click on there and it zooms me in. Again, this is just to try and make life a bit easier for you and saves you having to do any extra zooming in yourself. So when you play the audio, it's just going to run along and show you the time history graph, but it's just zoomed in that a bit more than it was previously. So again, to make it nice and easy, when you're ready to play your audio, we've got a play button. If you wouldn't mind pressing that, that'd be super. And you can see this green line is going across. I recorded some of this in the office yesterday and told my colleagues to please stop saying stupid things. You can pause it, you can stop it, but while it's running, if you want to go back and listen to something again, just click to that part of the file and it will play it back for you. But you do need for it to be playing for you to be able to jump back. I'll just do that again. So click here and you can listen to the same bit over and over again, should you wish. And I'm just going to press stop. Also, you'll notice that we've got a controlled volume here. So you'll have obviously speakers on your laptops and computers. You can increase the volume yourself. But if you wish to have controlled gain, you can tell it to increase by up to 10 decibels. And if you wish, you can also tell it to turn down the volume by 10 decibels. So this is just so that you can have true control over the volume level that you're listening to. I'm just also going to press play again one more time. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to stop that. I'm going to zoom all. Click back onto there. Press play. So I want you to just see these little jump to arrows as well. Again, we found that if you can just shave a couple of seconds off here and there when people are using NoiseTools, those seconds start to add up. So when you wish, when you're playing it, you can just press the skip arrow and it'll jump you to the next audio file and that section of the time history, graph here at the top. So you can just jump back and forth through audio. That can be quite useful. And again, if you put your cursor here, this is a graphic. If you right click, you can export that particular audio file and it will turn it into a WAV file. I put everything on my desktop because it annoys my colleagues in IT. You can give it a name, click save, and then you save that audio file. So if you just want to share one particular piece of audio with a colleague, a manager, a client, a third party like a lawyer or something like that, you can do so. I should just go cancel. Also, if I right click and I've got an audio list, so this shows me all the audio recordings that are on that measurement, and I can just pick whichever one I want, and it'll jump me straight to that audio recording. Again, just a little thing to shave a few seconds here and there. I'm just going to zoom all again. And the other thing that you can do, which I do all of the time, is mark up the measurement. So right now, I'm just going to take my mouse, and I'm going to highlight an area, and then I'm going to right click with my mouse. I'm going to press markup. Now, I'm going to leave it as the word label, but you use proper words. Well, label is a real word, but more descriptive words like dog barking or pile driver destroying concrete or something like that. Click OK, and what I've done is I've just turned that area into its own little measurement. So I've got an LAQ and an LC peak for that area. As you probably gathered, but just to be clear, any parameter that I'd selected from the pop-out legend would appear in the highlighted area. So if I'd picked the LC peak, that would have appeared there as well. I'm just going to highlight a couple of areas, and there's a specific reason that I'm doing this. So one more, maybe just for fun. Now I've called them all label, and there's a reason for that, which you'll see in a moment. So I'm going to go back to the Actions tab, click Actions, press Quick Report, and there is my LAEQ, my LC peak, my little time history report, and that's super. But it's not really page one that I'm interested in right now. It's the second page. So what are we looking at here? Well, all of the areas that I've highlighted and called label, I've got the LAQ and the LC peak, or any parameter that I just selected from the pop-out legend. I've got the averaged values here at the bottom. Got the total duration for the areas that I've highlighted, how many times I've highlighted things as well. And then here at the bottom, I've got the total, which as you can see matches the total here for the label, so 73.3, 121.2, and that matches up there. But now I have an LAQ and an LC peak that's different to the overall for the measurement. So just to remind you, or just jump back, because I say remind you, I've forgotten. So the LAQ is 70 odd and the LC peak is 121. But if I now jump, it's 116 and for the peak and 60 for the LAEQ. So what are we looking at there? Well, that is giving you the LAEQ and the LC peak for the areas that you have not highlighted. So on screen 1, it's the full measurement. And then on screen 2, we've got the here at the bottom, the ones that we've highlighted, and then the space left behind. So basically the areas that I left plain white, that's the LAEQ for that area that's not being highlighted. So the full measurement, area that you've highlighted, and then the areas that you've left unhighlighted, all on one little document for you. And again, as with all the other reports, just click that icon, and if you wish, you've now pulled it into your combined document. And just jump back to our time history tab. So this is me, as I say, marking up the areas. Now, one little thing, actually, pardon me, just to be clear on the second page. Because I called them all label and I left them green, the software understands that that's the same event repeating itself. Had I have spelled any of those with a lowercase l, the software would have thought that's a different event. And if I had changed the color but spelled label the same, but I changed the color from green to anything else, it would have thought that was a separate event too. So if you want things grouped together, because they are the same event happening again and again, then you need to ensure that they are colored the same and labeled the same, and the spelling is the same. So capital L, not lowercase, and it'll group it all together for you. Had I of highlighted an area and decided that I want to create a new marker, so I still leave it labeled, but I'll just make it purple or blue. Click Quick Report, jump to page 2, so it's now done that separately. I still get the combined overall totals, but I've now got an even bigger change to the remainder. So that's your time history. We also have our Octave bands tab. So depending on the instrument that you've got, you'll have first octaves, and if you've got a high enough spec instrument, you'll have third octaves. So first octaves would be for hearing defense selection, third octaves, the entire spectrum of sound between 33 and 36 bands, depending on the makeup of sound. And also, if you have the C model, which I do, it has on-screen tonal noise detection as well. So the red is showing me the highest level achieved in which frequency band, which in this measurement is painfully obvious. But because it's a tonal noise, in other words, 3 decibels higher than its neighbors either side, it's also highlighted it in blue. But you would need the top-end C model for that. If you have the B model, which has third octaves, you'd see the red outline, not the blue. And if you have the A model only has first octaves, not thirds. So what else can we do here with our lovely Octave screen? Well, we can look at the overall data, which is what we're looking at here. But basically, that's just I'll put it on the thirds. That is just a zoomed in version of what you saw on the summary report with an additional bit of color on the frequency that was the loudest. But if you click time history, and you are so inclined, you can look at your octaves as though you were stood looking at the instrument live, so you can see the pattern of the noise as it's happening. I occasionally use that, probably more to try and get a point across to a client about the noise in their environment. But usually for myself, I don't look at this data too often, but it can be good, just as I say, to impart information. This is what happened over the course of the measurement. This is the unweighted data. If you wish, you can tick the A box and it will color code it. So this is now A weighting. If you tick the C, it will color code it further, so you can got the A and the C weighting. If you do have, I shall just stop that. If you do have an instrument with first octaves, and just by the way, as you will know already, if you've got an instrument, I'll just get rid of the A and the C's. If you've got an instrument with third octaves, you will of course have first octaves. So even though this falls into somewhere between noise at work and environmental, you've got your NR and your NC curves. So this is, if you're new to this term, and NR 70 is just a way of saying all of the decibel levels in each octave band, but just using one number. So instead of saying on the 31.5 it was this, on the 63 it was this, on 125 it was this, blah 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 blah. You can just say, well, the NR curve is NR 70, and then that would detail within that number. If you looked into that number, you'd know what all of the the decibels were in each of the octaves. So this isn't so much about protecting people's hearing. This is more about noise in environments so that speech is legible. If you're in a theatre and you've bought tickets and you're at the front of the theatre, and somebody else bought tickets and they're at the back, even though you probably paid more, you should both still be able to hear what's going on. So there should be an NR curve for that environment to ensure there are no flutter echoes, things like that. Call centres would have NR codes, numbers to work towards. In fact, most environments do. Also, tannoy speeches at airports and things like that. So this can be quite an interesting tool to use. Also, we have our frequency analysis tab. So this is quite cool. I like this tab. You leave this running at trade shows, and people go to ask you what it is, and you tell them it's a frequency analysis map, and then they go, "Wow, that's amazing! Please can I have a free pen?" So what are we looking at? Well, we're looking at color coding for your frequencies. So we have blue for low decibels, red for high, and the idea is you can put your cursor anywhere and say, okay, well, what was happening at that particular time? Why we have this sudden spike? What's going on? You can wiggle it around. Now I leave it on the surface option because I just think it looks cooler, but if you click bars, it's probably easier to help pick out different frequencies. It looks like a rainbow New York, or a cargo ship, I suppose. I'll pop it back on the surface just for no reason other than I think it looks cooler. You can look at the same information, or the same representation of information, though not as refined, by looking at first octave data. As you can see, it's not nearly as refined. But interestingly, if you have an Optimus Green, then you have the ability to record audio. So whether or not your model gives you octave data, maybe you got the entry level Optimus Green, and those are called Optimus Environmentals, and those are called CR1720s or CR1710s. So an environmental meter with all your statistical values and everything else. However, no octave data is included. But if you record audio, any audio file recorded on an Optimus Green will be able to give you fast Fourier transfer or 1.12 octave data. So as you recall, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 audio recordings. I've now got 1, 2, 3, 4 FFT data sets for each. So for each audio recording. So that's useful. Whether or not your instrument has octave data, as long as you record audio, you'll always be able to look at the 1.12 or FFT. I shall put it back to thirds, and I shall put it, and there we go. And one thing you can do, as you may expect, if you right click, you can export the graphic because you right click on NoiseTools and away you go. But if you're giving a presentation to anybody, you're trying to convey information to a layperson, or you just feel like showing off, you can click on this lovely little aeroplane icon here, and you can fly over your measurement. You can look at me in my software. And no one's going to question you. You think, my God, look at that flyover map. They must know what they're doing. I endorse all of your recommendations. So do use that, but please be aware that if anybody else is looking at this screen with you, if it's not just you, if anybody else stood behind you, you are showing off. But it is a nice way to, if you've got a lot of data, and I often have a lot of data to deal with, it's quite a nice way to be able to look at your data in a different way, just to give your eyes, your brain a bit of a rest. So if you see red pattern, if you see the red occurring every couple of seconds, well, there you've got a pattern. There you can see a pattern to the noise. It's just a nice way to view things a bit differently. So I press stop because I don't really need to see that anymore. Now the next tab is, I'm only going to touch on this extremely briefly because this is environmental, not those at work, but this is the selection of hearing defense product from a company called Arco, and this is their entire range of hearing defense product. And what it's done, the software has taken your first Octave data and it's just color coded their product range. So anything in red is under protection, anything in amber is over protection, and any product that was highlighted in green would be suitable for the measurement that you've downloaded. Now, just to say, this is based on the entire measurement. But if you've marked up a part of your time history report, which I did earlier, that's what I call the little label. If I click on here, I can tell it to just color code based on the area that I've highlighted. So if you've got one area that's particularly, one part of the measurement is incredibly loud, problematic, but the rest of it's okay. You want to just protect people, even though it's about the average value over the day. If it's really loud, it's never a bad thing to just protect people anyway. You can tell it to color code based solely on that area that you've highlighted. And if you find that this list, which is quite comprehensive, but if it's got product, if you have product that isn't on that list, you've purchased it from somebody other than Arco, and which is fine. There's lots of people you can buy them from. Other health and safety providers are available. But if you just right click with your mouse, you can go to advanced, add, and insist on jumping to my second screen. You can add the information, product information here. Attenuation information will be available on packaging. Unless you get your hearing defenders from car boot sales, you should be able to get hold of that information. Click OK. Once you've populated that, if there's no value for one of these, as it says here, leave it blank. Don't put 0, you'll confuse it. Leave it blank, click OK, and that product will be permanently added to that list and color coded. Periodic calculator. So you've taken some measurements, you've taken one long measurement, and you're thinking, oh gosh, I'm doing traffic monitoring. I wanted 15-minute LAEQs and I forgot to set the timer. You can, if your heart desires, highlight 15-minute areas like so, and that's fine. If you wish, if it's only an hour measurement, that's not the end of the world. But maybe it's an 8-hour measurement and you need to get it accurate, So you can instead use your periodic calculator. Now, conveniently, it's set, the first thing you'll see is 15 minutes, because that does seem to be the most common parameter that people wish to break longer measurements down into. You can change it from minutes to hours, though. So, and change the time frame to be whatever you like, but I'll just use it at 15 minutes. You can also tick the box here that says use fixed times. So it will break your measurement up into from day to evening, evening to night, things of that nature. You can add an additional time if you want. If you don't need all 3 here, day, evening, and night, I imagine you probably would, but if you didn't, you can just X the box there and it will delete that parameter. I shall just use the single period here. So I've got my 15 minutes. I'm happy with that. In fact, actually, I'm going to tick that just to make it incredibly basic. So use the period that I've told you to. I've got an hour-long measurement. Break it up, please. So I press, once I've selected the duration that I want the measurement broken into, I just press next. I'm going to use default, but you can, if you've got custom options already saved, just click customs. It will pop up which custom ones you want, and you can pick that. Press next. So here I say, look, I want my LAEQ, but you can see all of these different options here, Octave data, fast or slow or no time waiting. I'll just click LAEQ at the top of the list, tell it to add the LAEQ to the calculation, press next again, and then what it's done is it's broken that measurement up. Now that measurement was actually a little bit longer, than an hour. So it's actually broken up into 6 measurements, and the last one's been 18 seconds because that was the remainder of what was left. Had I selected any other options as opposed to just the LEQ, such as statistical values, your L10s, your 90s, that information would appear there. So all this is doing, it's just saving you having to drag and slide with your mouse, or heaven forbid, do any of your own calculations. Can you imagine? What's the point of doing that? You have the software, let it do it for you. So it's just a way to break your measurement. It sort of does as it says on the tin. It's a periodic calculation. It takes your measurement, breaks it into periods of time, and offers you a calculation. And you can be very specific on the parameters and the time frame that you want it broken down to, not just into minutes and hours, but into chunks of the day as well. And of course, hover, and there's an option to export that table of information. Always a nice thing to have. Next, I'm going to just show you our Detail tab. If my mouse was working. Oh, there you go. Well done, mouse. We didn't make the mouse, just by the way. So what are we looking at here? Well, again, another way to look at information. And if you're looking at a lot of data like I do, it can be good to break things up. So we have our lovely summary page, we have our nice time history graph, we have our frequency bands that jump up and down, we have our cool look at me fly over map, we have our periodic calculators, all these lovely things here. You know what, sometimes it's just nice to look at numbers, especially if you've got a lot. So down this side of the screen, where my cursor is now, you can see all of the parameters and the averaged values, if an average value is applicable, for the measurement. The start time, date, time, duration, and oh look, hover, and there's an export tab, because of course there is. You can also do the same over here on this screen, and what's this screen showing you? This screen is showing you how your instrument's been configured. So the unique ID, which we will never ask you for, you will only ever see on this page. The instrument details, time history, so how the parameters, how often they've been calculated, the audio quality, when it was last factory calibrated. Well done me for factory calibration recently. Calibration before and after the measurement, any offsets, and the integrators that you're using, so ISO, LAEQ. So that's quite nice. There's backup information for how your instrument was configured when you took a measurement. But here at the bottom, we've got time history. So if I click broadband, these are all of the parameters monitored outside of the Octave data, and that is per second. So you are looking at, how was that? You do 15 seconds worth of data in that box right now. And of course, as ever, oh look, there's an export thing. Now, that's fine, but just as a super user tip, if you really want to export everything to Excel, that's okay, no trouble whatsoever. But if you're only interested in exporting certain parameters, this will send all of them, as you can see, into Excel. Whereas if you just did it from the time history graph, right-click, export to CSV or Excel, it's only going to export the parameters that you've told it that you're interested in. So what that means is that instead of doing it from the Detail tab, and then you having to delete 5 or 6 columns before you start doing anything else, you can just do it directly from the time history tab if you prefer, and it's already saved you a bit of effort. So there's your Detail tab. We've also got our Reports tab. Now you see me generate reports by just clicking the Quick Report button, and there's my report, and it's lovely. But we have all these other options for you, depending on the specification of your instrument. Now, because I've clicked on all of these tabs, all of them are available for me to click on. However, had I gone directly from Summary to Reports tab, for example, the time history report would be grayed out. You need to have been on the tab for the tab report to be highlighted and for you to be able to use it. So we've already looked at time history and the summary one. The Hearing Defender one is probably for a different, for the previous webinar, all of which are available on video on our website. But let's have just look at, for fun, let's have a look at a third Octave one. So I click on to reproduce any report in NoiseTools. All you ever have to do if you've decided not to click the quick report button, you've gone to the reports tab, pick the one you want, it will be highlighted in blue, press next once. Oh my gosh, add a picture just in case you thought, I don't think I've added enough pictures yet. If you want to show a report ID or GPS location, if your instrument has that capability, or you want to hide the page footer, just tick those boxes and whatever you tick will happen. Add additional notes. So I've not added any additional notes, but if I wanted to add additional notes, honestly, by the way, I do know real words. And then once I'm happy with that, press next once, and that's it. There you go. There's your report generated, and my incredibly insightful and groundbreaking notes added here at the bottom. I think I typed turtle there by mistake. There you go. So here is a Octave report. Third Octave data spread out, easier to see in this report format. There's an actual gap in between the bands. That just makes life easier on the eyes. And then the highest band, sometimes referred to as a critical band, but critical suggests that you've summarized it in some way. So the highest band is a better term to use. 1 kilohertz, 69.9 decibels. That was me playing around with the acoustic calibrator during the measurement. So there we are. To produce any report, press the reports tab, click the report you're interested in, press next once, add some notes if you wish, press next the second time, and that's your report produced. Tick that box, and again, you can put all of this into that lovely combined document, should your heart desire. A couple of other things I'd like to show you. I'm aware that I've been talking to you now for 80 minutes. I'm sure it seems longer to you all. Don't worry, it's still Thursday. I'm pretty sure it's still Thursday. And you'll see your family and friends again. We'll be wrapping up in 10 minutes. I've not had a chance to get to the questions yet. I shall try and do so in the last 5 minutes. But if not, I have a transcript of all the questions. We have all your email details. I'll just come back to you like that. There's a couple of things I'd just like to show you, which you may find helpful. So if you go to the word tools above NoiseTools, first of all, if you don't have a My Series account, but you feel a bit left out because all your friends do, click on there and you can just set yourself up a My Series account and you'll be living the dream. But the two things I'm interested in showing you here, well, three actually, I suppose, just in case, I'll quickly jump to databases. When you download NoiseTools, unless you tell it otherwise, it will automatically put it on the C drive of your laptop or your desktop. But you can create additional databases. So some of our clients that use a lot of equipment and have a lot of work to do, they maybe have a database for 22, database for 23, database for 2024. So to create a database, you can just simply go here, click to those tools and databases. You can tell it to create a new database, and then you can build the pathway here. So if you have a team folder that you store stuff to, you can tell it to store your data there. And as long as you all have that pathway, and then all your data will go to one location. You can all look at each other's measurements. But once you have created a new one, all you need to do is ensure that it's the one at the top of the database tree here, or database table, and that'll be the one that you're using. But bear in mind, if after this you create a database, and if you put that to the top, when you go and look at that new database here, down the tab here, down the side, your filing cabinet will be empty because you've not downloaded any measurements to it. Don't worry, you've not deleted them, you've not lost them. It's just you've created a new database, you've not downloaded any measurements to it yet. So this is how you can create different databases, sending data to different folders or different drives, should you wish. But also on tools, we've got two other things that I think are quite nice. We've got speaker calibration and we've got exports. I'm going to just show you those two. So speaker calibration. Now, the great thing about this is, no matter how many times you've used it, you are always going to get this on-screen instruction to show you how to do it. So you're never going to get a chance to forget. So on here, it's asking me to adjust my Windows volume to 100%, which you can do in the corner of your screen. I'll then press next. And then you need a standalone speaker for this. It doesn't work with headphones, and your laptop speakers will not be positioned correctly due to reflection, so it won't work. You do need a standalone speaker, and thankfully, you'll all be relieved to know that we sell standalone speakers. So there you go. If you want one, give me a call. Adjust your speaker volume to about 50% and then cover your ear. Position the sound level meter where you intend to listen to the audio, or whoever's listening to the audio, where they're going to be sat listening to it. You do need to have your instrument connected via the USB cable for this to work, the cable you use to download. And then press next. Again, now just cover your ears. I'm going to switch this off as quickly as I can. So what will happen there, I'll just take us back to that part. So what happens there is it'll go up and down through different frequencies at different decibel levels that the instrument is expecting to hear, because you've gone to speaker calibration. And once it's happy, you'll see a great big green tick appear in this box. And from that point on, the audio file that you play through that speaker will be played at the level it was heard when it was recorded. This is, of course, on the assumption that the speaker can play audio at that particular decibel level. If it can't, then you wouldn't have seen the green tick. So as long as you see the green tick, your speaker should be fine. So you listen to an audio recording, maybe it was 70 decibels, but it comes through that speaker, it will be 70 decibels where that person is sat, because you positioned the sound level meter there, so it understands the level it needs to be at that distance. And it's quite a nice tool to have, because if you're dealing with complaints at construction sites, or a nuisance neighbour, or industrial neighbours, which can be just as tiresome and involve more legal representation quicker, it can be nice to demonstrate the audio that was recorded to say, well, look, we can't take this any further. This is how loud it wasn't a problem. Yes, this is a problem. This is how loud you are to your neighbours. Please switch. You can't be a 24-hour operation until you've put some acoustic fencing up to help control the noise. So speaker calibration can be quite a nice, useful feature. This has been used in court by plenty of clients. And just to give you a heads up on how long it should take, if I was doing it properly, it should take between 30 and 60 seconds. Anything longer than that, and you're going to lose the person that you're trying to play the audio for. And here we are. How are we doing for time? Gosh, 5 minutes left. One other thing I'm very keen to show you, this is how you can share data with each other, with colleagues, with third parties, police, the lawyers, anybody. And also with me, if you've got some data, or my colleagues here at Cirrus, if you've got some data not quite making sense to you and need somebody to just have a look at it as well, and then you can do so by sharing the full data set. So it's just tools, export, measurement transfer package, and again, second screen, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 measurements open, 1, 2, 3, 4 measurements here, highlight the measurement you're interested in, go to export, again, just for the fun, put it on your desktop to an NoiseTools. It'll look like this, you can see here at the bottom. Attach that to an email, send it to anybody who's got email, obviously that would help. And a copy of NoiseTools, bearing in mind that you can include a link to our website in that email, and that person can download NoiseTools completely free of charge. When they click on the icon, once they've downloaded NoiseTools, if they don't already have it, NoiseTools will understand that you've just clicked on NoiseTools folder, and it'll go, hey, look at this, would you like us to import it? And you'll say, yes, please. And it'll be as though you downloaded it yourself with the USB data transfer cable. So every single thing that you can see and you can do, that person will be able to do as well. Now, depending on the environment, in fact, actually GDPR applies to everybody. So if you have any data that you'd like, have a bit of difficulty with it, and you want to send it to me, if you untick the box that says include people, places, and projects, anything that you've typed in to mark up that measurement, I wouldn't see. So you have to worry about GDPR. If you've got a case reference number, or you're monitoring a particular construction site, or you've got a client's name in there, and you don't want me to see it, not trouble at all, untick that box and I won't see it. Oh, and if you think you're James Bond, you can encrypt your measurements and I won't be able to open them until you send me a code. And also you can untick the box that says include audio. Now, the other reason for this, there is an actual practical reason for this, as well as me being able to help you over the line, over the phone, or on Teams. It makes it easier for me to do it. Less and less people allow us to use TeamViewer. So in other words, I remote access your computer and I can control the screen and everything else, which is entirely understandable, right? We've all been on cybersecurity training, and yet here you go, you can control my computer, it's fine. So less and less people want us to be able to do that, and we understand that's not a problem. So if you share your measurement with me, then I can have on the screen the same thing that you have on your screen. And I can say, click here, do this, do that. It just helps us to help you that little bit quicker. So that's you'll find that under the word tools, export, measurement transfer package. Whatever you've got open will appear, and you can just simply attach it and send it to me. There are a couple of bits and bobs. Oh, pardon me, I do have to show you this because this came up only this week. I mentioned earlier somebody having to re-download a measurement because they didn't tick the time history box. So when you delete a measurement, so here's a measurement, let's delete it. You've not really deleted it. It's like email. It's just gone into the deleted items folder, which is down here. So you second screens. So these are measurements that I've deleted. So because it's not really gone, it's still in NoiseTools. So that gentleman that had, for some reason, unticked the time history box on his dose batch, when he downloaded it again, he couldn't see the time history. He couldn't see the time history when he first downloaded. So he deleted the measurement, which is great, and went to re-download it, but the software wouldn't let him do it. And the reason for that is it won't let you download the same measurement twice. That's to avoid you duplicating data and maybe confusing yourself when looking at information, because it all looks quite similar, right? It's all graphics and numbers. So you have to actually delete it from the deleted items folder, which is found down here, for you then to be able to download that measurement again, should you ever find that you've unticked audio, or you've unticked octaves, or you've unticked time history, and you need to download again. Let me just jump. So that's everything we're going to be showing you for NoiseTools today. I realise I've got 1 minute left. Let's see if anybody's still on the platform. Look at you. Oh my gosh, people still here at the end. Bless your hearts. So a couple of things popped up on the screen. Webinars. Okay, I do hear the same. I've lost sound. Does anybody else? Some people have lost sound, others have too. Thank you. Jamie has confirmed that anybody that's lost sound and couldn't hear my dulcet tones probably shed a tear. We will send you a video. It'll be edited next week. So you should be able to send you a link. It might even be quicker than, well, it's Friday tomorrow. It's likely to be next week. So you'll be able to get that. Okay, thank you for that tip, Fiona. Take measurements after this screen ticking in. Yes, Fiona, it does sound to me like the screensaver's Fiona was asking, and then the screen goes dark and she's taking measurements after a bit. Is that the screensaver kicking in? Yes, that does sound like it is. And in question to your answer to your question, Sarah, yes. So yours does the same thing. Yes, that would be a permanent setting. So if you find that to be not especially useful, and as you saw, I didn't actually have it ticked on mine. If you untick it, click Save to Instrument, you won't have that again. How do you pull photos into the report? So when you select, so I didn't select Change Picture, but when I went onto the Configure the Cover page, I had those three options, three different areas I could add pictures. When you click Change Picture, it will say, where do you want to find your pictures from? And if you click Desktop, because that's where you store your pictures, then it will then any pictures you have on your desktop you'll be able to pull into the report. Can I provide, Nicole, can I provide you with the software? Surely I can, my friend, surely I can. And oddly enough, there is a user manual that cover the basics, but we can pop you out. That's a link to the software. I'll ping you over the uniform. Hi, Richard, would the file be too big to email? Great question, that, Fiona. Has come up in the past. That depends entirely on what your IT colleagues will allow you to send. We're allowed to receive quite large files solely for that purpose. However, to get around it, we have done Dropbox with clients in the past. But if it's audio you need to listen to help you, that's going to be allowed. If you don't need me to listen to the audio and you untick it, even a week-long measurement should be okay. Super. Aces, lovely. Well, everybody, best jump back to camera so that you know I'm really here. Sorry, I've forgotten how everything works. Hello, world. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today for part 3 of the trilogy. Third part's never as loved as the first two, but hopefully you found today to be helpful, and I'm doing the same thing. Look at the camera, stop looking at yourself, Richard. So thank you. It's been a real pleasure talking to everybody over the past 3 webinars. Hopefully you found it helpful. All of the previous webinars, including ones hosted by other colleagues, should you want to watch those, on vibration and things like that, one on the quantum, I believe, are all available on our website. Just go to videos and webinars, click on there, they're all available. This one should be available, I think, by early next week, if not tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. But thank you again for joining us. There will be further webinars in the future. We'll let you know about those. And just a quick thank you to my colleague, Jamie, who is on holiday this week, but due to hosting, presenting things on the package that we use, she's heroically, her words, not mine, hosted this today. So Jamie, thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of your week off. Everybody else, have a fantastic day. Thank you again for your time. I'll go through the questions. If there are more, I'll come back to the people that ask those questions. Otherwise, though, all the best. Take care.